You're welcome to the Economy and Politics Show, where we discuss key developments as they affects the households. Today, our focus will be on the Nigeria oil and gas industry, setting a new agenda. And my guest is Mr. Akin Osuntoki, he's the MD of Richardson Oil and Gas Company. Nice to have you on the show.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. And to our viewers, before we begin the conversation, let's give you one major story from last week. And that was the Nigeria inflation for July 2022 report, which revealed that it continues to soar, and this time it hit 19.64% for headline inflation, while food inflation also soared for the first time in many years to over 20%, currently 22.04%, which means that inflation is still on the high trajectory in Nigeria, just like we're seeing across the world. If you're joining us, it's the Economy and Politics Show, and we'll continue our focus on the oil and gas industry as we discuss Nigeria's oil and gas industry setting a new agenda. And my guest is Mr. Akin Osuntoki. He is the MD of Richardson Oil and Gas Company. So thank you very much for having us in your very lovely office. Let's first begin with, we've heard about it since oil was discovered in 1957 in Oloibiri, then near River State, but now around Bayelsa. I would like to know, how critical is the oil and gas industry in terms of achieving economic stability for Nigeria?
Thank you very much. I think that is a question that we always ask from time to time. And if you allow me, I will say that the role of the oil and gas industry in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. In fact, it's the bedrock of the economy. In 2019, the oil and gas industry accounted for 5.85% of the GDP. But then, the Nigerian Content Monitoring Board is playing key roles to ensure that more work in the industry is done locally. The more work we domesticate, the greater the contribution to our GDP. So I think that as we progress into the future, we will see more work being done, and if we have time, we'll probably also share what we're experiencing in that light. So as more work is done, contribution to GDP will be higher. As more people are employed, contributions to GDP will be higher. But I think the key issue is that the oil and gas industry brings in 95% of our foreign exchange.
Yes, that's major.
And I think that's the real issue.
Yeah.
People have said we should diversify the economy. So there has been great investment in non-oil, particularly agri. But then, while agri could give us food security, until we begin to process and export like we used to do before the oil industry gained what I'll call the first position, as it were, we will continue to still depend on the industry for our foreign exchange earnings. The oil and gas industry also contributes about 65% of government revenues. And if you remember pretty well, during COVID-19, there was a shock. The shock was that the industry was in comatose at the beginning. And April 2010, if you remember, oil prices just
bottom down. Yeah.
So you'll find out that shocks like that, shake the economy. And you also agree that Nigeria is the 10th largest producer in the world and third in Africa. So oil and gas industry will continue to be very relevant as long as we talk about Nigeria and the economy.
Yeah.
What you must also realize is that the present challenge that we have about refined petroleum products still tells you that we still need to look at the industry significantly for our energy needs. Is it gas? Is it refined crude? To a large extent, the history of Nigeria is not complete without the mention of the oil and gas industry and the role it plays.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear. Even we have seen it that there's need to diversify the revenue sources because the economy is seemingly diversified, and crude oil, like you rightly said, is a major foreign exchange source, which explains the foreign exchange challenges we see today, because where there's a challenge in crude oil production, we're not getting the value, we're having challenges in the foreign exchange inflows. Absolutely. But of course, now we've seen this remarkable landmark with the Petroleum Industry Act signed, which is expected to now encourage more investments in the industry, bring more value, and make the oil and gas industry really globally competitive, where we see more activities. Would you say that the PIA has been domesticated so far to a level where it brings oil and gas companies, local ones, competitive, and attracts more prospect for investment in the country? Because we are watching, it seems to be more divestment than prospects of investments.
Big question. But let's start from the fundamentals. Number one, the PIA took 20 years to come to being. So for me, I think that the good news is that it was passed. And of course, the whole essence is to bring the best of the industry to the fore and possibly help in dealing with some of the issues that have been with us. It gives a framework for legitimate administration. It also gives some monetary structure. Whether we like it or not, is expected to bring a conducive and helpful business climate. And I know the ones Nigerians are happy about is that as more or less called for the reorganization of NNPOC as what you call a modern day institution that is expected to run like other national oil and gas,
like Saudi Aramco.
Absolutely, institutions.
Yes.
It would have its board, will have its processes, will have its structure, and is expected to run like a modern day company with no government intervention, and they are expected to publish reports as other companies in the economy do. I think that is also a big issue that we need to look at it. That, of course, will bring good governance, will bring transparency, and also remember that the PIA also has a role for the host communities. The host communities now are entitled to 3% of previous year's operating profit. But that is not for free. They are expected to monitor the assets within their locality. So they have a responsibility, and to a large extent, they are recognized as major stakeholders. You also know that we have two regulatory arms, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, and also you have the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. All of these are meant to bring structure, bring an efficient monitoring, and perhaps give a conducive business climate. So in a nutshell, yes, the act is a piece of what I'll call rules and regulations that, if well implemented, should see us several steps forward, solve some of the problems we've been battling with. I encourage new investment, and I think that it should move us significantly forward. You also know that there is a new physical framework. The new physical framework is expected to encourage new investments. You are aware that just as you mentioned, the international companies are divesting on onshore assets. That's another good thing that the act has done. It's encouraging indigenous companies to take on marginal fields and also bring in a fiscal regime of 15% hydrocarbon tax, which is a lot, lower than what we used to have under the petroleum profits tax. So, to a large extent, I think that the PIA should encourage investment, also should begin to, give incentives become clear for stakeholders. So the decision to do or not to do is easier because we try to bridge all the gaps that we had. Like I said, we've waited for 20 years for it to come, but it's here. And I think that it should move us significantly forward.
And interestingly, recent developments have even put it to test. So that's what everybody's watching to see how effective the PIA is, particularly the role of the Minister of Petroleum and the place of regulators.
Execution.
Very key. What's the assessment of Nigeria's local content participation? You mentioned about the NCDMB, the Nigerian Content Development Monitoring Board. We've seen some local and gas companies taking on very big heights. I mean, just to mention some of them like Seplat, Wando, and the rest. I mean, how do you see that participation and other prospects of local participants in the industry?
I think that one of the best things that ever happened to the industry is the enactment of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act 2010. The game has changed. It's been a game changer. And that we have seen that the local economy is being developed. Capacities are being built. Opportunity approach plans moving in the right direction. We are stimulating local production, local capabilities. We are developing a skilled man first, and we are also developing a very competitive supplier base. The NCDMB has encouraged new investment, particularly in areas where we had gaps. Of course, that has conserved our foreign exchange and has more or less reduced capital flight. NCDMB has further gone to the level of supporting local stakeholders as a fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic. I am aware that working capital enhancement facilities are being extended through NEXIM. There you have what we call the NCDMB NEXIM working capital facility. All of these is encouraging local companies. PETA, the Petroleum Technology Association of Nigeria, which is a very strong body in the oil and gas industry, is working hand in hand with the NCDMB in ensuring that the industry moves in the right direction. More work is being done. And if you allow me, you will notice that for the projects that have come on stream in the last 4 years, in the last 10 years, there's been an increase in the quantum of work done in Nigeria. Egina, which is a 200,000 barrels per day production. Nigerian content was over 50%. Ikike, 50,000 barrels per day by the end of 2022. we also expect that over 50% will be done. These projects have set a new standard. What it means is that moving forward, we're going to move into the higher percentages, 50, 60, 70. And I understand that the Nigerian content in the industry as a whole is moving closer to 60, 70% as we talk. This is encouraging. Like I said to you also, if you will use the COVID-19 pandemic as a litmus test, the skies were shut, no one could come in country. So it is on record that the Nigerian companies, the local companies, the indigenous companies, or whatever you want to call them, rose to the occasion. Our people went to the rigs, and what we needed assistance to do, we did virtually by video. So whether you like it or not, COVID also had its own benefits. If you allow me, we had to make do with the skilled hands that we had, and whatever gap that we had at that time, we worked with our partners by video, by on the spot, training to bridge that gap. Suffice it to say that the industry did not close down. Work went on and is still going on. I think to a large extent the Nigerian oil and gas industry has proven to be capable, has been tested to, stand the test that we've seen and that we are likely to see. Other countries in Africa that are discovering oil are actually, working back to Nigeria through pattern. I'm a member of pattern. To learn a thing or two. They say there is no point in reinventing. You don't reinvent the wheel. And I think that Nigeria's leadership is becoming recognized and accepted. And we cannot take this away from the legislations that we've talked about today. I see a greater future, and I think the best for the industry is yet to come.
Yes, and I even look forward to game changer projects like the Dangote petrochemical 60,000 barrels per day, and even more looking at 200,000 barrels per day in the South Zone.
I agree with it.
So those are interesting things to watch out for. Now let's go on to the big one next month, the 14th edition of the PSRG-Richardson HSSE Forum. And of course, this is where we've derived our conversation today, the theme, the Nigerian oil and gas industry setting a new agenda. What is going to be unique about this edition, and what should we expect, stakeholders expect? Because your industry is one for a lot of conferences and sessions, which is good to deliberate on key issues. But what makes this unique at this time?
Let me say that number one, this event is a collaboration of Richardson Oil and Gas and Process Safety Reliability Group, our technical partners. What we are seeing is the 14th edition. That means that we have held this event non-stop, no gap, for 14 years. Even during COVID, we did not have a physical event. We had a virtual event. That, of course, without being a modest, shows passion and a consistency. We have not done this alone. We have done this with our partners who have been with us from day one. So supporting this initiative, we have international companies like Total Energies. They have partnered with us from the very beginning. We have the Shell companies. They are also part of this event. Remember that the whole essence at the beginning was to have a platform where companies, participants, stakeholders will gather to look at issues of health, safety, security, environment in an holistic setting. And within this also work together to provide solutions.
Yeah.
That was the intention. So you will realize that issues of health, safety, security, environment
are critical pillars in the industry.
In the industry. So Total Energies have been with us, like I said. Shell companies have been with us. Chevron has been with us. LLNG has been with us.
Those are big
Even
majors.
companies not in the oil and gas. You had First Bank supporting.
Okay.
The Bank of Industry has always supported.
Mm.
We've had players in the industry who have over time consistently identified with this event. It started as a one-day event. However, participants more or less insisted that the issues to talk about are not what we could do in a day setting.
Mm.
So we moved from a one-day event to a two-day event. And it will interest you that this event has held at the Eco Hotels and Suites from day one.
Mm.
So not only are we interested in the subjects that we like to discuss, we have also painstakingly improved and worked on the quality of subjects being discussed, the resource people that we bring together. And remember, like I said, it's not a Richardson PSRG event.
Yeah.
It's an industry event.
Industry event, yeah.
If you want a venture to go far and improve over time, you must allow it to have a life of its own.
Yeah.
We have allowed this event to have a life of its own. We are just the organizers.
The enablers.
The enablers. For those who have attended over time, we do not charge a fee. So participants will register and come into the show. Remember, it's a conference. It's also an exhibition. So you find out that the two-day setting, we've had thousands of people coming, share whatever we are offering on the platform, contribute, and that has made it bigger. It's an international event now. It's now a hybrid. We have the physical, and we also have the virtual. We've had people, register as far back as 2 months, 3 months ago, and it's getting better. This year's event is particularly exciting.
Yeah.
We are looking at the theme, the Nigerian oil and gas industry, setting a new agenda. And we have no other personality than the guru himself, someone I love to listen to, intelligent, a scholar in every way, the former managing director of LLNG, Mr. Tony Atta. Wonderful speaker, knowledgeable person, a scholar in every right. Everybody's looking forward to hearing him. Discussing each paper will be Mr. Emeka Ene, who was a former chairman of PETA.
Okay.
And the managing director of Oil Data. Okay. So we expect that we will be looking at the theme that I mentioned earlier at the opening session. But beyond the opening session, we have other sessions. The opening session will be the high point, where we will have, all our sponsors, being present. It's their day. So all the sponsoring companies will be there with their CEOs. We're going to have goodwill messages from Chevron, from Total Energies, from Shell, from First Bank, from Access Bank. It's going to be a panorama. You must be there. Beyond the opening, we have the health and safety session in the afternoon of day one. Day 2 in the morning session, we have the environment and operations.
Operations.
Increasingly, we are getting the discussions broader. We are beginning to look at issues of operations, local content issues, risk management, security, and safety.
Yeah.
So that will be the subject for the afternoon session in day 2. We're going to look at risk management, security, and safety. So you see that gradually, it seems to me that the 2 days are not become inadequate for this event. But
Yeah.
suffice it to say that we've had good support over the years, and we'll continue to get the event to add value to all those who participate.
Yes, I mean, in every oil and gas industry where nations operate, if you sideline issues of health, safety, security, and environment, definitely you're not being serious about connecting the nexus. So it's very important, and we look forward to a very interesting conversation when this comes up next month. Something that, of course, ProShare will be actively engaging. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Akin Osuntoki, MD CEO of Richardson Oil and Gas Company. Thank you for giving us prospects, and of course, those very interesting developments that we should watch out for in the Nigerian oil and gas industry as we look at setting a new agenda for this industry, which, like you said, is one of our big revenue earners, and of course, has more prospects to do well if this legislation, the PIA, is well domesticated and executed. Yes, thank you once again.
I must thank you for giving me the opportunity. The pleasure is mine. Thank you so much. And I look forward to an opportunity to discuss with you after the event.
Definitely.
To discuss, by the grace of God, the successes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Yes, thank you very much for that. And to all our viewers, that will be all for this edition of the Economy and Politics Show. As you know, the Nigerian oil and gas industry is very critical to the economy, and this conversation was about setting a new agenda for it. And of course, looking forward to next month's 14th edition of the PSRG-Richardson HSSE Forum, which of course promises to be a very interesting one. Well, if you want to ask questions or suggestions or make comments around the conversation today, please send your views, comments, or suggestions to the email displayed on the screen, Ottoabasi Abasiekong @proshare.co. Also, you can join our website, www.proshare.co, to read our latest articles around the oil and gas industry. So much is happening, and also our videos and reports. So much to look out for. Particularly, ProShare is working out a report around crude oil thefts. You don't want to miss out on that report, and that's something that we're preparing. So you just have to keep tab with us and follow our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Thank you for being part of the show. Have a lovely day.